Bro, so I'm back at it again with Spoken Substance. I'm glad to have Anthony Ogogo on the channel. How you doing, Anthony? You right?
I'm good, mate. I'm good, thank you. Lockdown's is a bit tricky. It's a bit odd, but other than that, mate, I'm doing all right, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. Thank you for giving your time up. Thank you for coming and let me talk about your story and where it's took you and how you've come back from the things you've come back from. I'm sure with lockdown, it's a bit of a strange and a mad one for everybody. I'd have loved to do this face to face in the studio, but we've had to move with the times, and that's the way lockdown is. But I wanted to talk about kind of from probably your younger years. A lot of the time, I'm working with young people who their aspirations are pretty low. I want to kind of start the place where you come from. The place where you come from, Lowestoft. I don't know if you remember this, but I remember it for you. But also, can you remember when Channel 4 did that
Rock School?
Rock School, yeah.
Gene Simmons came to town. Yeah, I remember. I was there. I was one of the kids. You can see me. Well, say me. You can see my backside. Or did they take it out? I think they were good. Basically, one of the producers said to me, "Here, mate, is 20 quid. Go and pretend to start a fight with a few friends so we can film it and like use this for the subtitles." And I was like, all right, I was like 16 years old. For 20 quid, lovely. See my friends start rolling around on the field, pretending to have a fight, and they filmed it to try to make the school look much worse than it really was.
Right.
But, yeah, that's funny. That's going back some. That is, mate. You're giving your age away now.
Yeah, that was going back a bit. I can remember when that because that was when TV was a big thing. You know, when something came on TV, you'd have to sit down, you'd have to watch it. They kind of painted Lowestoft as like a bit of a place where a coastal town near kind of London where there's not much to do other than be antisocial or what was it like growing up there?
Listen, I mean anywhere. I live in quite a nice town now, but there's nice parts and bad parts. You know, it's like anywhere. There's good parts, there's bad parts. The thing about growing up in Lowestoft, there's not a great deal to do. So in situations like that, it's easy to kind of get in trouble because there's nothing to do, and not even like because kids are bad. It's just because they're bored and they'll go. I mean, I got in trouble once because a few friends of mine playing football down the school. So our school where we went to, we always played every evening after school, or every weekend we go there and have a kick about. And our ball burst, and we were just sitting there like, there's nothing to do. So we went to the PE shed, opened the PE shed, nicked one of the PE footballs, carried on our game, and then ended up getting in trouble for nicking a football from the PE shed, which is is really trivial. But it wasn't because we were bad kids. We just wanted to play football. You know, we wanted something to do. So, I mean, it was a nice place. You know, it was a nice place to grow up. Had a lovely beach in the summer. It was nice. Like being a kid was good in the summer because, again, without giving my age away, 25 years ago, people wouldn't go away to Spain. They wouldn't go to Turkey. They wouldn't go to America because it was so expensive. People didn't really do it. So people would go to have their weekly holidays in the summer at local seaside towns like Great Yarmouth and Lowestoft and Cromer. So as a kid going to the beach every single day, you'd get a new family each day. When you'd make friends again before like the world got really weird, and you could just go and make a friend on a day because you're a kid. You can go to the shops together because kids nowadays, you wouldn't do that because you get snatched or whatever. But yeah, so I mean, it was a nice place, but it had good bits and bad bits. But that's like any place in the world, let alone the country, you know. So
Definitely so, and I think you hit the nail on the head. I think a lot of the trouble that young people get into is boredom related in terms of where you spend your time. And trivial stuff like nicking footballs from the PE shed, actually, it's quite a productive thing to do, really. You could have stole a car, you could have stolen the grandma's purse.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I never would have done that. I had too much respect. I had too much like respect for my mum to do anything like bad because I didn't want to let her down. I wasn't scared of her, you know. I wasn't scared, but I was afraid of letting her down and making her feel like think less of me. So I never would have done that. But that's the thing. I mean, if there's stuff with people, that's not the only reason. People can say that. People can use that as an excuse because they want to do bad stuff. But I mean, having things to do, having productive things to do is a great thing. Like, again, I started boxing at a young age, and even before boxing, I was always doing sport, playing football, swimming, playing basketball. I was always doing something. So my outlet was always sport because, one, I was good at it and I enjoyed it. But I always did things to keep me off the streets. So my mum always wanted me off street corners, getting in trouble, which loads of people can do. So yeah, I always really enjoyed sport, and whether I was gonna make a profession out of it growing up or not, it was a nice place for me to be in the sporting arena environment, because I just enjoyed it and I was good at it, and it's always nice to do things you're good at, right? So yeah, I think I can attest. Like, I probably would have gotten a lot more trouble if I didn't have something that I enjoyed and was good at such a young age.
I think this is a bit of a loaded question, really, because you're bound to say, yeah, it's an important thing, but having something like a sport or maybe the arts or something like that, how important do you think it is for a young person in terms of giving them time to spend and giving them direction?
Yeah, listen, mate. You know the answer, because you know it yourself. Like, doing what you do, it's imperative. It's really important, and it hasn't just got to be sport. Like, I was very lucky that I was sporty as a kid. But had I not been sporty, I would have probably tried to do something musical. But I'm not very musically gifted. I would have tried dancing. I would have tried something. As long as there's something, like having something, doesn't matter what you do. Something is better than nothing. So, I think one of my mum always encouraged us to do sports because she wasn't very sporty, and she wanted us to be sporty because she wasn't. And thankfully, me and my sisters, we all were quite good at sport, and we kind of excelled in that environment. And I think it's about like just trying things as a kid, like just trying stuff, because if you don't try things, you don't know if you're going to enjoy it or be good at it. So I think it's important to find what it is you like to do as a kid, as a boy or girl, and then hopefully doing that will give you, first and foremost, an outlet, a productive outlet where you can go in, and all this creative or any energy that you have, you can kind of channel it in that direction. Well, you never know. Like me, I didn't know I was going to become an Olympian. Always wanted to, but I didn't know my talents would take me there. I just boxed at the beginning because I just really enjoyed it. And then after a few years, I realised that I was actually pretty good, and it opened doors for me, and I was able to go on an aeroplane. I'd never been on an aeroplane before. I went to America, and I started traveling all around the world, something I never thought would happen just because of boxing. So it gave me loads of opportunities that my classmates never had, and my friends I went to school with never had. And then I thought, wow, I could actually make a job of this. I could do this. And then I realised that if you're successful, you get fame, you get attention, you get money, you get all these amazing things which you don't get stealing cars, which you don't get robbing handbags. So that was definitely I knew I wanted all those things, and that's why I worked hard to go down the good way rather than the bad way.
You mentioned traveling the world with boxing. I suppose when you go to the boxing gym for the first time, you get used to it, you start enjoying it. You never think that you're going to start, getting into the GB squad and traveling the world. I know you won the Junior Olympics in Texas, right? You won the Commonwealth silver medal in Delhi. You traveled. Boxing took you all over the world. When was it that you realised that actually I'm a bit better than everybody else in the gym, or I'm going to be in the squad?
Good question, mate. So I remember exactly when it was. Exactly, I went to I boxed, and as a 12-year-old, I my first fight. I was 12, the day before my 13th birthday, and then I knocked a kid out. And you don't get many 12-year-olds knocking kids out. Then my next fight, knocked him out. For my third fight, I knocked him out. And then, as a kid, you're only allowed to give away 12 months in age. You can't give any more age away because it can get dangerous. We had to give away like 18 months in age. So I was a 13-year-old kid fighting a guy who was 15. He had hairy armpits. I was 13. I had nothing. And then I beat him, but I was giving away so much age and so much age and weight. It was like people started like looking out. People started in boxing when you travel the UK and you fight. A lot of like clubs would go with their boxers. They'd go. Their boxers would box. When they finish, they leave. So they've got 3 hours to go home or 2 hours to go home. Then when I was on the show, people would wait to see me. They wanted to see me fight. Wow. And then they kind of like, which is really amazing. Again, I was 12, 13, 14 years old. And then I won the National Schoolboy Championships, and I was champion of the whole of England, which is amazing. And then I won the NABC Championships, champion of the whole of Britain, which again was amazing. And then when I got picked to fight for England, Britain at the Junior Olympics in Texas, as you said, 2004, the first time I ever went on an aeroplane. I went there. The whole team, including people like George Groves, was on the team, and like Miles Shinkwin, real good amateur fighter, decent pro, and some real good boxers on the squad. The only two guys that won the gold medal were me and Luke Campbell. Went on to win the Olympic Games, and he'll probably win a world title as a pro. Yeah. And I got the most outstanding boxer of the tournament award as well. I boxed really well. And then we had went back to the hotel that night, our last night before coming home, and I sat there, and everyone was like making a fuss about me. And at the time, I was 15. I was 15 years old at the time. And at the time, I trained twice a week. We trained on a Monday and a Wednesday. And if I could get my coach to take me down to the gym on a Friday, he'd take me down on a Friday. So every week is twice a week, and then occasionally on a Friday. And I was junior Olympic champion, training twice or three times a week. And I was 15, and I thought, and that's when you kind of at school you start kind of having careers meetings where when you're older, do you want to be a PE teacher, or do you want to be a this, or do you want to be a that? And I was always like, I want to be a famous boxer. I want to be a world champion. I want to be an Olympic champion. That's what I wanted to be. And then I realised I was already on that path. I was already junior Olympic champion. And then that was that. I flew home that day from Texas, a 10-hour, 11-hour flight, thinking, God, I could do this as a job. I could actually do this, because there's a squad for the 10 or 10, 11 boxers, and on the way out, the coaches would give each boxer as much attention as the rest. Maybe the odd one or two, the favourites would get a bit more attention, the George Groveses or whatnot. On the way back, everyone was fussing about me and Luke Campbell. My big trophy wouldn't fit in my suitcase, so I had to carry it on my lap and my medal. And then the pilot gave me and Luke Campbell a shout out on the plane to become a junior Olympic champion. And everyone was kind of shaking my hand on the plane. And when I got to the airport, everyone was make a bit of a fuss. And I got the train home back to Lowestoft, and I got to the train station, and my family were there, my friends were there. We had a big fuss. And then the next night they hired out a pub, and they got a big screen, and they played all my fights on the big screen. And
wow,
it was just brilliant. I'm a 15-year-old kid, and I'm like a little mini superstar, and I loved it. And again, going back to working, doing what you do and working with the kids that you work with, and sometimes people make bad choices, and then that one bad choice from a young age can make them go down a particular path. I mean, and oftentimes we don't get many positive reinforcements. That for me was the best positive reinforcement I could ever have. I mean, I liked that attention, and I liked all the stuff that came with it, and I knew that if I work hard in the boxing gym, I can get more of that and more of that. And that's enough in itself to make me want to go down this road rather than down this road. So I guess on the plane back from the Junior Olympics, I thought I could actually do this.
It's mad, because the thing I take most from that story is, for me, is the positive reinforcement. Because if we're thinking age of 15 to the Olympics when you competed for GB, there's a long time to go there. There's a long time to still. There's a lot of training. There's a lot of hard work. There's a lot of elimination process before you get there. Maybe your family and friends, when you came back making that deal, that positive reinforcement, that could have a big effect in terms of saying, well, actually, you know what, people are proud of me, and that's going to push me on even more. And I think it's great that happened. What I am surprised about is I'm surprised that you managed to win Junior Olympics only training twice a week, sometimes 3 times a week.
Yeah, well, on top of that, we had England training. So on top of that, the previous must have been 10 weeks, maybe 12. Wouldn't have been 12, maybe 8 to 10 weeks. So previous weekend, so we travel down. I'll train all week train Monday, Wednesday in my gym. And again, when I'm training, that's at my boxing club. Every morning I was running, so I knew I want to be the fittest boxer. I want to be the fittest boxer and the fastest, and Muhammad Ali would run 4 miles a day every morning. So I got an old VHS from W.H. Smith's and stuck in the VHS recorder, press play. Muhammad Ali runs 4 miles every morning. I was running 4 miles every morning because I wanted to be like him. So I was doing all my own stuff. I'd go in there in lunchtime at school. At lunchtime at school, we had like a little gym. I mean, it wasn't. I look at back now, it wasn't a gym, but like when you're 15 and for a school gym, had maybe a treadmill, a couple of dumbbells, and that was it pretty much.
Yeah.
But I'd go in there most lunchtimes at school and do a little weight session. I had no clue what I was doing, but I knew that if you did weight, you got strong. If you were strong, and it'd help you punch harder, and so on and so forth. So I'd go and do some weight. I'd do I was obsessed. I'd clean my teeth in the bathroom, and I'd like shadow box in the mirror whilst cleaning my teeth. So yeah, man. But I trained up, but every week, as I said, every weekend for the previous 8 weekends when the team got the Olympic team got picked, the junior Olympic team got picked, we'd go into Crystal Palace in South London, and we'd have the Friday to Sunday weekend there. We'd get there Friday afternoon after school. They'd smash us Friday night, all day Saturday, Sunday morning. Then we'd go home. So we'd have like a weekend camp for the 8 weeks on the spin leading up to the Olympics. But yeah, I think that just proves that I was talented, and I worked hard, and yeah, I guess like when the coaches at a local boxing club all around the country, they're volunteers. They're not getting paid from it. They're doing it because they love boxing and they want to help young boys and girls kind of achieve their dreams. So I really appreciate the time that those guys kind of gave me. John Cameron, Frank Bacon, AAA Boxing Club really invested a lot of time in me, and they helped me kind of become the athlete that I was.
We'd all like the fame. We'd all like to get to the Olympics. We might all like to do the walkout, but one thing you spoke about is the obsession. You was giving up your lunch times to train. You was running 4 miles in the morning. Some people say that young people are lazy. Not all young people are lazy at all, but how important is it to have that dedication, that commitment, and that obsession, and how easy was it for you to develop that?
Yeah, I mean, I do. In my current life, I do quite a lot of motivational speaking. So I go to football clubs, Premier League football clubs. I go to schools. I go to all diverse like array of people, and I'll talk about what I did in my career and some of the setbacks I'm sure we'll get onto later in my career, and how I kind of overcame them. And I try to kind of instill a bit of like inspiration or motivation in the guys I'm talking to, whether they are a year 6 class in a primary school or whether they're a Premier League football team. I try to kind of help them just by saying, look, this is what I did. And I found it, I didn't find it easy because it's a tough one. It was quite easy for me. Like I never really always say, and this is it sounds quite cliche, but it never was. Like I never had to set an alarm for my whole boxing career in the amateurs and in the pros. I never had to set an alarm. Now I always would because sometimes you spar and take big shots, and it's like to the next day you have a headache and you wake up a little bit late. But like I never had to set an alarm to wake up to go training because I was always so determined to get better that I was always awake before my alarm went off anyway. So for me, I found the motivation quite easy because I wanted to be the best, and I know that to be the best took a lot of hard work, a lot of dedication. So for me, I found that quite easy, really, the motivation. Like obviously going out and when you're 14 and 15, all your friends are out going to the park and drinking and trying to smoke or trying to get with girls. And I never did that because I was always in the gym, or I knew that smoking and drinking wasn't going to be good for me. So that was quite difficult. Missing out. I mean, you go to school on a Monday and you'd hear the stories from the Friday and Saturday and go, you wasn't there. I was at home watching Muhammad Ali again. But you know what? Like it's what you value in life, isn't it? And I always valued being a successful athlete, and that meant more to me than having a few cans of White Lightning down the park on a Friday night. So it was, wasn't that hard for me. I can understand how it's hard for other people, but I think that's when it comes down to the dream, the reason why you're doing it. And as I said, the reason why I did it, because I wanted to become a good boxer and hopefully hit amazing heights. And that meant more to me than getting up to mischief. Yeah,
I think it's an honest answer that you kind of your own internal motivator. Not everybody's got that within inside them. Not everybody can do that. And I think understanding that's a big thing. But if you're your own motivator, then that's the ultimate motivation. If you're the person getting yourself up, you're not relying on anybody else because you want to be the best, your chances probably increase of being successful. I know
on that one, mate. Like I get that, but like I'm very lucky. I didn't need like, if I was fighting for nothing, just to win, if I was fighting for 10 grand or 10 million pounds, I wouldn't try any harder if I was fighting for 10 million pounds or if I was fighting for nothing, because I wanted to win. That was my driving factor. However, some people haven't got that, as you said, that internal driving force. Like, often some people don't have that. So some people are motivated by money or by fame or by attention or by whatever. And that's fine. As long as you've got something to push you on, like use it as fuel. Use that. Like, maybe you want to have your name in the local newspaper. Brilliant. If that's your driving force, then use that. Rinse that for all you can, and make it push you as much as you possibly can. So, yeah, I mean, as long as you're motivated by something, maybe you want to make your mum proud of you, or your dad proud of you, or your brothers and sisters proud of you, or maybe you want to impress a girl at school. Brilliant. Like, if that's what it takes to kind of make you get up and do something, then crack on.
I think there's no shame if money is your motivator, motivator, whatever it is that pushes you on. I think winning is a good one to have, because to want to win in every situation. Yeah, it is. Is it healthy? Is it unhealthy? I don't know. That's a tricky question. But in terms of what you was doing, it was healthy.
Yeah. For me, I remember reading Roy Keane's book years ago, and I haven't read it since. It must have been 12, 13. I used to like reading quite a lot, and I was always the same stuff. Like, I didn't read my first novel until I was like a man, because I only ever read sport autobiographies, because I wanted to know, what did they do? Why were they successful? Why were they good? I wanted to learn as much as possibly could. Yeah. I remember reading Roy Keane's book years ago, and I was only a kid. But I remember it being, I'll probably butcher it. I'm probably making it up now and putting words in his mouth. But I remember reading something like, he had to win everything, whether it was a game of chess with his son or a game of bloody tiddlywinks with his daughter. He had to win. And I remember looking at that thing, and I was only young. I remember thinking, well, that's quite weak. That's proving you got a massive weakness, because why do you need to win everything? Like, in sport, be it boxing, be it football, yeah, win everything. Every time that bell goes in boxing or the whistle blows in football, be the most committed person on the pitch or in the ring and try to win. But how sad must you be to have to want to beat your 4-year-old kid at a game of catch? I mean, mate, get a life. Do you know what I mean? It's like, so I'm saying that because you mentioned a minute ago, is being obsessed with winning healthy? I think to a degree. I think if you need to win until you wins against your 4-year-old daughter, then I think that says more about you and about what you lack than it does what you have got. But I think I was always like we do quizzes sometimes, me and my family, and now during lockdown, every man and their dog's doing quizzes, and I couldn't give a monkeys. Like, if we have fun, if you have a laugh, then great. I don't need to win a family quiz. That means nothing to me. But if you put me in the boxing ring again, and you put me against Bob Smith from around the corner, or Canelo, the world middleweight champion, I'm going to want to win. Every ounce of my being wants to win that match. So I think it's about being able to, I was always good at being able to turn it on and turn it off. Yeah. So that's my personal take on winning and being obsessed by it or not.
I think that answer as well is brilliant. It is unhealthy to want to win everything. I suppose, like, in terms of arguments with your girlfriend, is it worth winning this argument, sacrifice, or with a friend? Or I suppose wanting to win in every possible outcome is actually pretty unhealthy. I think that's a good message to put to young people, knowing when to win and when it's not important.
And I've learned this. I've learned this the hard way. It's not an attractive quality to have. Like, I used to have this thing where I always wanted to be right, and if I thought I was right, I wanted to kind of like you just ram it down their throats. I'm right, and that's not good. That's so unattractive. And luckily I dropped that a number of years ago, because that's not cool. It's like, if you think you're right or if you think you've won, sweet. Just, it doesn't matter, as long as you know. You haven't got to make everybody else know. So I learned. I learned that one the hard way.
Even if you are right, like you say, it's unattractive. People just think, I've had enough of this guy now. Do you know what I mean? Even if you are right.
Like, who wants to hang around with the guy that knows it all, or the guy that always wants to win? It's like, mate, come on. Do you know what I mean? Or it's just
too much.
But again, I guess you got to learn, and sometimes you've got to be that. Sometimes you got to be that guy to realize, probably should have left that one. Probably should have just been a bit more humble in that situation.
I want to talk about probably the biggest opportunity that came to you in your younger years. Absolute massive opportunity. It's not uncommon knowledge, but it's not an exclusive or anything. But I suppose not everybody will know that you were probably fighting 2 fights when you went to the Olympics. Didn't make it quite a simple process. Probably something you trained for years, and when it came 10 days before the Olympics, you found out something. A bit of a tragedy was going off in your life, right?
Yeah, mate. I've got tingles, mate. You're saying it now. Honestly, I've got tingles down my neck. So that was 6 weeks before the Olympic Games. I was up in Sheffield with the Great Britain team. We trained in Sheffield together. I was just on a run on a Tuesday morning. Got back to we had little flats. Got back to my flat. I was stretching my legs, and then my phone rang like 8:20, and that's my sister. So this is weird. And I've answered the phone, and my sister was like hyperventilating, panicking, crying. I could hear the emotion in her voice. She rang me and said, "You got to get home now." I went, "It's Tuesday morning. What's going on?" She went, "Get home now. Mum's about to die." And I went, like, so I've rushed home, and then she had a brain aneurysm. She was in a really, really bad way. And that was 6 weeks. That was 5.5 weeks before the Olympics. I've been saying 6 weeks for years, and then I tallied it up recently, and it was just over 4 weeks.
Wow.
For my first fight, and I didn't do anything for a month. Didn't do anything. Didn't throw a punch. Didn't do a setup. Didn't do anything. I lost weight because I was worried and I was sick with worry. And then we had, after a month, my girlfriend, who's now my wife, and my sisters, they guilt tripped me. They said, "Listen, you've got to do the Olympics, because if you don't, like, when Mum gets better," and none of us thought she was going to get any better. She was in a really, really bad place. And it's a miracle she didn't die on the spot. And then she said, when she gets better, she's going to feel awful knowing that you didn't do the games because of her. So after being away for 3.5, 4 weeks, we went back to Sheffield. We had 1 week, half a week of training left. We had one last sparring session. I got in the spar, I had my phone in my pocket. My mum's next to kin. So if the hospital called, they called me to say any bad news, anything. So my phone in my pocket, went to the ring. My first punch I threw a slow, sloppy jab, which is like 101 boxing, don't throw five punches. And the kid's slipped out, boom, right hook to my body, and he's broke my rib. And got through the spar. I had no crowd, got through the spar. I sat on the ring apron, and I used to sweat a lot when I trained. So I was sweating profusely, had all Vaseline on my eyes, and the sweat was like masquerading my tears because I was crying my eyes out. And then they said to, and I sat there thinking, I damaged Achilles, so in the next 2 years, I had 4 operations on my Achilles to fix them. They're in a bad way. I just dislocated my shoulder, had to rush through the surgery. My right shoulder was basically hanging off. It was still dislocated, hadn't healed properly, but I didn't have time to go through the full rehab. I had a broken rib, which every time if you had a broken rib, like when you breathe, it's like you're getting stabbed in the stomach. When you breathe, you can't laugh, you can't cough. It's horrible. And there's me breathing heavy after a spar. It's just fucking get stabbed in my stomach. And I thought, worst of all, I thought my mum was going to die. I was never going to see her again. So, yeah, man, I went to the Olympic Games. I then got an extremely hard draw because, I always got hard draws. I always got difficult. I was always in a difficult half of the draw, and it's just always the way it was. And then I boxed a Dominican. I boxed, and what was frustrating is I was the first boxer to fight, first British boxer to fight. So the Olympic ceremony was on the Friday night. Always was on the Friday night. And the first day competition's on a Saturday. And I boxed Saturday lunchtime. So I couldn't even go to the opening ceremony because that finished late. And you've got thousands of athletes in this stadium and all the spectators. And you get back late to the early hours. And I had to wake up early to weigh in, then to box. So I couldn't even go to the opening ceremony, which I dreamt about going for my entire life. So that was a bit upsetting. And I just lied there in that bed. I could see the stadium. I could see the fireworks going off. I'm thinking, this is rubbish. This isn't how it's meant to be. Like, I was meant to go to the games like as a nobody and leave as a star and win a gold medal. And I'm now going in. I thought my mum was going to die. I couldn't go to the ceremony. It was just rubbish. And I thought, this isn't how it was meant to be. Like in my head, I've planned this out 1,000 times in my head. And not one time was it like this. But that's life, you know. And I fought a Dominican. It was a really tough fight. I beat him. The next fight, I had to fight the world champion. The Ukrainian hadn't lost in 2 years. Knocked everyone out. Like, nobody gave me a chance of beating him. Nobody. Even on my best day, fully fit, fully healthy, missing no days of training, let alone the whole month, no injuries. My mum not in hospital fighting for her life. Like, even on my best day, like, nobody, even my own team, didn't think I was going to beat him. And then I pulled, and I dug down deeper than I'd ever dug before. And in a really close, hard-fought fight, I beat him. And he hit me so hard. He hit me so hard that I didn't know where I was. Like, he's hit me. And he hit me so hard that I blocked it. Like, I blocked the punch on my left hand. And he's hit my left hand. And my leg still wobbled. And the referee gave me stands like count. Then he hit me hard again, and I didn't know where I was. And I didn't know where it was again. He hit me so hard that I didn't know where I was. Then he hit me with a jab. Then a jab kind of like woke me up. I thought, oh shit, I'm in a boxing match. So I boxed it again. But yeah, man, that's adversity. That's adversity. I'm literally getting punched. My head's getting punched in by the hardest punch I've ever fought. And I had a choice. I could have given up. And had I given up in that fight, had I just said, no, it's not to be, then nobody who knew my story would have thought any less of me. They still would have thought that, at least he's here, because he's had a real tough qualification process with the shoulder injury and the Achilles injuries. At least he's got his like Olympic tracksuit. And then I dug in, and I wasn't going to let this circumstance kind of like be, dictate my life. And I dug in, and I beat him. And my next fight, I boxed a German, real good fighter, and I boxed him and beat him. Then the semi-final, I boxed a Brazilian, and it's really, I mean, 8 years on, I'm still frustrated in the fact that he beat me, the Brazilian, and he didn't beat me. The hard thing to take was, like, in boxing, you win some, you lose some. It's life. It's like life. You win some, you lose some. But the hard thing about losing to him is the fact that he weren't better than me. Like, he was nowhere near better than me. Like, he was the worst person that I'd boxed in the Olympics. The Dominican, Ukrainian, and German had all beaten him that Olympic year. And he beat me because I'd missed a month of training, had a broken rib. I thought my mum was going to die, had a bad shoulder. The whole circumstance, that was too much. Like, it was one fight too far. And he beat me. And then again, he dropped me in round 2, I think it was. And I never watched the fight back, so I don't know. But he's hit me. And he hit me nowhere near as hard as the Ukrainian hit me. Nowhere near as hard. But I just had nothing left. Like, my resistance had just gone, and I was just as weak as a kitten. And I remember lying there on the floor thinking, oh, this is rubbish. Like, I knew I weren't going to win. I didn't give up, but I knew I didn't carry the power now after what I'd been through, both emotionally and physically. I didn't have the power to knock him out. The time was running out. I wanted the whole ground to just swallow me, and didn't want to be there anymore. But I thought, how can I give up? And I'm really proud of this. I'm like, how can I give up and lie on the floor and let the referee count me out when my mum is in hospital fighting for her life? Like, that, I couldn't. I couldn't. Like, lying there again. Going back to what I said a minute ago. Had I stayed on the ground in that instant, like, nobody would have thought less of me, because everyone who I cared about knew what I was going through. But I thought, I can't do that. That's not. My mum's fighting for her life. What kind of person am I going to be if I don't get up and carry on fighting? So I got up and I carried on. I was punching as hard as I could. And I tried my heart out. I tried knocking him out. And up until the final bell, I thought, just one punch all it takes to knock him out. But it wasn't to be. The final bell went and he beat me. And I was gutted about that, because I should have won the gold medal, because I was the best person there. I beat the world champion. I beat the favourite. I beat the world number 1. And I was the best person there. But, mate, that's life. Life happens, and I couldn't control my mum being ill. I couldn't control me missing a lot of training, me being injured, me not sleeping because I was worried about getting a phone call from the hospital saying she's passed away. I couldn't control that. I mean, I think I controlled it the best I possibly could, and I did a remarkable job winning a medal of any colour. But no, that's life, mate. And I'm very happy to say that my mum has made a fantastic recovery, and the most important thing is she's still here with us today, like living and breathing and living a good life. So I wouldn't change that for the world, but it still was frustrating not getting the gold medal that I so richly deserved, in my opinion.
It's a bonkers story, to be fair. It's crazy, and I can't imagine any of the other fighters in that division were going through times like that. When in the second fight you beat the world number 1, that was an achievement that probably nobody ever thought was going to happen anyway, let alone due to circumstances. Nobody ever thought probably that you'd even carry on and continue to go to the actual Olympics with everything that was going off. You was sneaking out of the Olympic Village, right?
Yeah, mate. That's it. I was thinking. So most people, when you're not, so boxing's the hardest sport in the world. I mean, bar none. I mean, that's just fact. Anybody who's ever put a pair of boxing gloves on and messed around in a ring knows that. Like, you could be Mo Farah. If I got Mo Farah in a ring, the fittest bloke in the world, Mo Farah. If I got him in the ring and started hitting him, you know, it's a total different level of fitness. It's beyond anything you've ever done. And you know, when you're in boxers, you got to fight. My first fight was the first day of competition. My final was the last day of competition. Semi-final was the penultimate day. So I was in the Olympics the whole time. I was training in between my fights. I was trying to rest where you can, but you still got to make weight. You still got to weigh in every single morning when you fight. When you go and fight, when you go and see how much weight you've got to lose for the next fight, and train accordingly. And it's hard. And then when you're not training, you're just resting, you're chilling, you're relaxing in the steam room, in the ice bath, just taking some time out. Like, I wasn't doing that. Like, I was, like I said, sneaking out the village, going to my car that I parked in Wanstead. I'd jump in my car, drive the hour and a half up to Cambridge, sneak into Addenbrooke Hospital. I'd beg the nurse to let me in. I'd go in 2, 3 in the morning, hold my mum's hand for half an hour. I'd creep out, back to my car, back to Wanstead for 5 a.m. when the tube start again. Jump on the tube, back into Stratford for 6 a.m. Creep in my village, in the Olympic Village. Creep back into my room before the coaches woke up. Shut the door. Coaches wake up. Come on, boxers, wake up. Go for one. And I was out running, and that was what I did a couple of times during the Olympics, and it was hard, man. It was torturous, but I mean, I keep saying it's life. Sometimes things happen in life you can't control it, and you got to make the best of it. And that meant a lot to me. Had my mum passed away in that time, I hadn't seen her again. I needed to do that, you know. So, but yeah, mate, that was 2012. It was a funny year. Something that I've looked forward to my entire life. Wasn't what I thought it was going to be.
2012 has got to be one of the biggest years of your life. Period. I think as much as you need the physical rest after a fight, you also need the mental rest to get yourself prepared to the next fight. You got none of that. I know in an interview before you said your biggest kind of influence, your biggest role model was actually your mum as well. I know your dad was around, raised with 4 sisters, so she did a tremendous job to kind of raise a family on her own. My dad's not around either, so I know it's tough. It's not easy. How did your mum manage to kind of bring you guys up with such good morals and be successful as well, and hold it all together? How did that happen?
Mate, I don't know. She's a superwoman. I don't, and she worked as well full time. She was a nurse, a psychiatric nurse, an extremely hard job. She was a carer, old people's home, many with like mental issues as well, so it's even more complicated. And she raised us all, and we never went to school with dirty clothes. We never missed a meal. I don't know how she did it, mate. I have no clue how she did it. And my sisters, they've all got kids now, but my little one hasn't. But my older 3 sisters, they've all got kids, and they've all got partners, very helpful partners. And they always like, Mum, how? And they got 3, 2, and 4 kids each. And they were all like, Mum, how did you do it with 5 kids under the age of 10 years old, all by yourself? Like, how? And I like, I've got no kids, and I struggle to look after myself sometimes. So I don't know how she did it. But she said that she always instilled good morals. Like I said, the very top of this interview, I said I never wanted to be naughty because I didn't want to let her down. It was important for me not to let her down because I loved her and I respected her, and I do respect her, and I don't want to let her down. Even now, 31 years old, and I don't want to let her down. I've had to tell her off a couple of times during lockdown. She'd been going out. She'd been going out to the shops, or like again, being a mum, doing shopping for my sisters.
Yeah,
they've got the kids. So, Mum, you can't keep going out. Stay in. So I'm telling her off, but it's like it feels weird. But I know I'm doing the right thing. But it's like, oh, she's my mum, you know. But Yeah, well, I don't know. She did a tremendous job. We all turned out well. All my other sisters have all got degrees and they all work, teachers or nurses, or my other sister works as a child support officer, similar to what you do. So yeah, I mean, yeah, mate, they've all done
amazing
all done
job.
well.
I think that's the ultimate sign of parenting for me, is when you do such a good job, your mum doesn't, or your dad, whoever it is, doesn't even need to tell you, don't do that. You just know, I won't do that because I don't want to let that person down.
Yeah.
And that's the ultimate sign. If you have that level of love and respect for your parents, they've done a great job.
Yeah.
In terms of after the Olympics, I remember you quite well, to be fair. I remember you being on Subway adverts. I remember you being quite a big deal at the time. And then you went and you got a professional contract with Golden Boy, Oscar De La Hoya. Looked like he was on to big things. You left with Luke Campbell, Anthony Joshua. They both in that Olympic Games with you. Is that right?
Yeah. So, mate, yeah. So, yeah.
Big squad that year. And then you started professional fighting. When you started professional fighting, was you any more tired of it at that point? You've obviously been through a lot of injuries and a lot of hard work at this point.
Do you know what I've done? When I turned pro, I got that. I was jaded. Yeah, I was jaded of amateur boxing, and the only thing ever, I was never, even being honest, I was never that bothered about turning pro. I mean, I always probably was going to, because that's the general rule. You go to the games, you do well, you turn pro, you make money, because there's no money in amateur sports, in Olympic sport. So I probably was going to, but it was never my dream. Like a lot of boxers, they want to become the next Ricky Hatton or Joe Kazagi or whoever. Like I always wanted to become an Olympic gold medal, and had I won an Olympic gold medal, and I'm not saying I would have, because it's a moot point, it didn't happen. But had I won a gold medal, like there's a big chance I would have just retired from boxing, because you're not going to top that. Like it's like being an alcoholic. They always try to. And I've got a friend of mine's an alcoholic, and I'm able to say this because he's talked to me in depth. Like alcoholics they're always searching for that pint or that drink, that euphoric moment, and they can never get it. So they do it again and more and more, and they're always yearning for it, and they can't get it. Like there's a good chance that I could have had that similar thing with boxing, like Olympic Games, gold medal in London, live on BBC. I mean, you ain't going to top that in front of 10,000 people at the XL Arena. Like every person there wants you to win. When you turn pro, you start finding different people, and they've got their own fans, and they come. Every person in London wanted you to win. Like that probably couldn't have got beaten for me. So I might not have boxed anymore. I might have just, I don't know, went to Hollywood to become an actor or something. I don't know. But so yeah, I mean, but after the Olympic Games, I was so disappointed by not winning a gold medal and all the things I mentioned a minute ago. And like what I'd done, I'd kind of encapsulated my mum's illness with the Olympics, so they all kind of went hand in hand. So I wanted to kind of just move on from it. I wanted to kind of like bury my Olympic tracksuits and all my Olympic kit and just leave it, put it up in the loft. Still there to this day, up in the loft, and just move on. And that desire that I had for the Olympic gold medal got changed to a world title as a pro. That is now my focal point, the thing that got me up in the morning, and all that, yeah, that determination and desire I had for Olympics and now as a pro career. And I've gone from not really being fussed about the pros to now the pros being everything for me. And I was so like determined. And listen, mate, like again, I keep saying that it's like I've had a lot of setbacks. We're going to talk about more now. I'm going to try to breathe through my pro career, because I don't want this to be like a why me sulking interview. But I turned pro, and my first fight was brilliant. I went up in Sheffield and knocked out Kieran Gray in round 2. I mean, I was always going to beat Kieran Gray because he was a journeyman, but he was a decent journeyman and he could punch hard, and he did win some. You get some journeymen who don't win at all and they come to lose. Kieran Gray came to try to take the head off. Like up until that point, people see me as the kid from the Olympics, signed a Golden Boy. He's on TV adverts, Subway, Nike, Maxi Muscle. People didn't think I was a serious boxer. They thought I was some wannabe celebrity, which couldn't be any further from the truth. You can hear some of the stuff I had to come through in my life to be successful. I'm extremely determined. So he came to knock me out. He had to go. Round 1 came out. He threw a big right hand. I slipped it. I thought, okay, he's up for this. And I beat him up, knocked him out in round 2. And then my whole career, my pro career went like that to that. From that, I peaked on my debut. I boxed 3 weeks later in New York. I got food poisoning before the fight. I was so sick. I came in really light. I was middleweight. I used to box 11 stone 6. That fight was scheduled to come in at like 11 stone 9. I came in 11 stone 4. I came in like almost half a stone less than I was meant to come in because I was being sick that morning, sick that afternoon. I was sick so violent that I ruptured my muscles in my stomach. Again, I thought I was getting stabbed again. I fought him, but beat him. Didn't box very well. I won every round, but I didn't box very well because I was my fate. I wore a white. I remember I wore a white like sleeveless hoodie, and my skin. I'm a mixed race man. My skin was the same color as this white hoodie. After me in the ring with Bernard Hopkins, I was in a bad way. I ran out of the ring to the toilet. I was sick. I was fucking shitting. I was being sick at the same time. It was just horrible, man. And then my next fight, I bust my hand badly. I didn't break it, but I badly bruised it, which was as bad as a break because I couldn't punch for 12 weeks on it. And then I went on holiday that year. That was July 2013. I went on holiday. My Achilles, as I mentioned earlier, I ended up having 4 operations on them in the coming months and years because they were so bad. I sat there. Me and my wife went to Morocco in 2013 July. I sat there, 45-degree heat, which I hated. It was far too hot. On my sun lounger, I had a bag of ice on my ribs because I was being sick, as I said, and I ripped my stomach muscles. I had a bag of ice in my hand. I had a bag of ice underneath each Achilles. And because it was so hot there, I was sending my poor wife to get more ice every half an hour. More ice. She'd go, come back. And that was rubbish. It was rubbish. And then I came back and had a couple of fights. And then I had to get my Achilles done because they were so bad. It got so bad. I was sparring Carl Froch, who's a 5-time world middleweight champion, middleweight champion.
I'm from Nottingham, Sturm.
Oh, yeah, the Cobra. I was sparring Froch. Yeah. He's a mate of mine. We trained together for years. We had the same coach, and he could whack, man. Carl could whack, and Carl used to lie, right? Because what our coach Rob McCracken, he'd always say, Carl's a consummate professional, and he was to many aspects. But because Carl boxed at 12 stone, 76 kilos, and he'd always say, Carl comes in, he's always 12 stone 2, never goes big with the weight, always stays around his weight, which was utter rubbish. He'd come in at 12 stone 10, 13 stone, and Rob would say, "What are you weighing, Carl?" And Carl would go, "I'm 12'2". He was big. And I'd be sparring him. I was fighting 11 stone 6. I'd always walk around 11, 10, 12 stone. Rob was sparring us together. I think there's like a 2-pound weight disparity. There's a 12-pound weight disparity. He'd whack me hard, right? And he was a lot bigger than me because he was a stone heavier than me, and that's a lot in boxing. And he was a world champ, and I was a baby. And he's a rugged man, and I was this kind of fresh-faced kid. And my Achilles were so bad, I couldn't move. Every time I moved in and out, it would just hurt. They were horrible. So I got to the point where I'll just tuck up and take shots. And I was sparring Carl, and he went boom, 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 like a 6-punch combo, whip, head, uppercut. And I'm thinking, if my feet were okay, I'd have moved. He wouldn't land on that one punch. But because I can't even move my feet, I'm just standing there. And then I was training for one more fight. I fought Wayne Reed in July 2014, so 1 year after hurting my hand. And then I fought him, and I knocked him out in round 5. But in round 4, he was coming at me, and again, my Achilles were so sore. I thought, I'll just block this one. I'll just block this hook rather than moving. And then he's thrown a big right hook, right? And I've gone to block it, and it was a bit longer than I thought. So rather than catching it on the hand, he looped the right round and got me in the back of the head. And my right knee's dipped. I've kind of wobbled a little bit because it was a clean shot on the back of my skull.
Yeah.
And I was embarrassed because that's live on Sky Sports, and my knee's gone. And I had to kind of try to pretend I kind of lost my balance, but I didn't. He whacked me. And I thought, you bugger. So I knocked him out next round and knocked him out. I could knock him out earlier, but I knew I was going to get my Achilles done after that. I wanted to kind of enjoy being in the ring. Yeah. So anyway, I came out, got my Achilles done. I was out for 1 whole year because I had an operation on both my Achilles first. Operation went wrong. The surgeon put an infection in both my Achilles rather than fixing it. So I had to go back 6 months later, had another operation to strip both Achilles. The best way to describe what I had done is, let's say your Achilles tendons are like pieces of wood. My my wood was like all splintered and just buggered, all knots in. It was just buggered, all knots in there, and grotesque. They had to kind of shave it down basically and start fresh. And all after the first surgery, all the tissues that I kind of rehabbed were infected. So you had to kind of cut that away and wash that away. And it was a nightmare. I was out for a year all told. My next fight was July 15. So I boxed July 13, July 14, July 15. Boxed July 2015 over in Germany. My first fight back after being out for a year. I boxed another Ukrainian, another tough little Ukrainian. Jabbed his head off round 1. Round 2 have come out. Jab, jab, jab. I'm going to knock him out now. Just get the fight over with soon. Through a right hand, he slipped it. It bounced off his head. My right shoulder dislocated again. The same shoulder that was dislocated in 2011 before the Olympics, that I struggled with before the Olympics. I had to fight 6 rounds for 4.5. I had to fight 4.5 rounds with one arm. In the corner of that round, after round 2, my arm was hanging there. I was using my left arm to put on my right knee, using my right knee to wiggle my shoulder back in the socket so I could hold it there rather than just hanging out. And I beat him. I won every round. Almost knocked him out as well in round 6. One more round, I would have knocked him out. I was out for another 10 months. I had surgery on my shoulder. I don't know if you've seen the pictures on my Instagram or my social media, but I had surgery on my shoulder. The surgeon had to move some bone around to lock my shoulder in so that it was flat, so I couldn't come out again because the second time has happened. And then he had to move some bone around. By doing so, he damaged a nerve. My right arm withered away to the size of a pipe cleaner. Pictures on my Instagram, if you want to have a look. I was really, really skinny. And then I had to kind of rehab that. I had to rehab an arm from scratch. I couldn't even, this is a true story, I couldn't even bicep curl the weight of my own arm. Like my hand, the weight of my hand, I couldn't even do that. It was for weeks and weeks and weeks and months. My nerve was damaged. I had to go to a place, I think that's Queen Anne Medical Centre, and have electrodes put in my neck and put in my finger. And then what they did, they had to see if the nerve was still working. Because if it wasn't working, that's my career over. Because the nerve is damaged and nerves don't heal. Muscles heal, nerves don't heal properly. So if they're damaged, just get nerve damage and they can't walk or whatever for the rest of their life. And I had to put electrical pulse from my neck to my finger. And if my finger moved a little bit, the nerve was still alive. That badly damaged, but still alive, and it would eventually come back. So I'm sitting there, my whole life is like my whole career is hanging in the balance of this one test. My tummy's doing knots. I'm sitting there, needle in here, needle on my finger. They put a little bit of current through my finger, nothing happened. A bit more, nothing happened. I'm seeing the doctors look at each other, giving each other the look as if to say, "Oh, this isn't good." They turned it up full whack. And my finger went tiny little thing, and they went to me, "You okay, son? You're going to be okay. Or it's going to take a while, but it's going to be okay." And I went, and I chatted to him afterwards. He went to me, "We put max volume through, or you're not allowed to put any more through." And up until that, they thought that my nerve was done. I came back. I was out for 10 months. I came back. I had 3 fights, knocked them all out. I was talking my management with Tilton to Golden Boy, who Canelo is the world middleweight champion in my weight category. I was promoted by Golden Boy. It was an easy fight to make. I was fighting for the WBC international belt, which would give me a top 10 ranking with WBC. Canelo, the WBC champion, we were going to fight him within the year. Minimum purse, $5 million. All I had to do is, and up until this point, I got no money because I'm out. I'm having expensive surgeries, paying for my own money. I had all these long periods out of the ring. And in boxing, if you don't fight, you don't get paid. So I'm not doing that well for money, and this was going to be my big break. And I could have beat Canelo. As he's a tremendous fighter. He's got even better now, but back then he's well beatable. And I fought, and I fractured my eye socket. And then, can never fight again in the fight, which should have been a bit of a cakewalk, really. My eye socket got shattered and ended up having to have 9 operations on my eye over 3 years to try to get back in the ring. 4 very expensive ones in America. Cost me more money than I'd ever earned in boxing. All to try to get back to boxing and get back to my career. And it wasn't meant to be. I had to retire this time last March. And that was it. And that was the end of my boxing career. So all the story we've spoken about today, the ups and downs, and the going to the Junior Olympics and going to the Olympics and having my massive like coming out moment and becoming a world champ never happened because out of my control, you know. And it was really hard to take. Really, it was tough. It was really hard to kind of come to terms with first and foremost, and to accept and to move on from, which I've done now. But it's taken me 3.5 years to get to that point where I can look back at my career and go, okay, I didn't get the things I should have got. I didn't win the medals and the trophies and earn the money I should have got, but you know, it's life, and now I can move on to the next thing.
We could sit and talk about your story being fair and unfair, and I'm sure that you probably have at some point said, well, this isn't fair, and the reality of life is sometimes that's not really a great question to ask yourself, and it doesn't always work out like that. One of the things that I do take from this story is that, or two things actually, is that in terms of boxing being a brutal sport, we look at people getting knocked out, we look at the punches they receive. Most of the brutality that came in your boxing career, because you won every fight until you had to be pulled out with Craig Cunningham, came from the injuries that you sustained, from the years in the amateurs to the years in the pros, the surgeries that you had. They must have been painful, they must have been stressful, expensive, traumatic. There's probably a lot of young people who pursue career in sport, and some people I know who've pursued a career in sport to a certain length and never got to the lengths that you have, as you still did reach massive heights, even though your career got cut short and injuries stopped them from kind of reaching the points that they'd like to reach. How do you prepare yourself mentally for that? How did you get through that in terms of getting yourself back into a mental frame of mind where you could deal with life again?
Well, after the eye injury,
yeah.
How did I struggled, man. I really struggled. I mean, I'm very lucky. I've got an amazing wife. I've got a great family that help support me. But sometimes you can have all the people in the world, but you still feel really lonely. And that's how I felt a lot of the time. How did I do it? I guess they always say time's the healer, and it really is. And like, first year was real tough, and I was clinging to any little hope because I generally had 9 operations, and the first 7 I actually thought we're gonna. The first 7 I really thought I was gonna get back, and the last 2, I was hoping I would, knowing it was the chances weren't great, but I was still hopeful. But the first 7, I went in every operation thinking, I'll be back boxing. Right, texting my manager, emailing my team saying, get me a fight for this date because I'm gonna be back. Generally thinking I was gonna be back, and that was hard because that was due to the emotional roller coaster of being so down, and then the operation. Maybe it's work being so high, then hasn't worked being so down, and eyes are really hard because eyes aren't. It's not a science. There's a lot of guesswork in my particular problem because way more than a damaged orbit. My eye was smashed to bits. My left eye, saying I'm blind isn't the right term, which is very different to that, but I'm pretty much blind in my left eye, and it doesn't move properly. It doesn't move properly, so it's just, and I was trying to kind of get that back, and it was a nightmare. But yeah, I mean, it was really tough. How did I do it? Just look like taking one day at a time, really. Taking one day at a time, and I guess that's what people do when they suffer like loss, whether it's a loss of a family member, a spouse, a friend, a career. And my career meant everything to me. It was like I lost somebody, like a bereavement, and it was one day at a time, looking for things to look forward to, and just don't sound like it's over the top, but it was to me it was a massive loss, and it was I tried kind of like doing that thing where, again, go back to the alcoholic thing. Like, if you're an alcoholic, if you can kind of go to a pub, everyone's drinking around you, you can have a drink, you're cured. Tried doing that. Went back to the boxing gym. Tried to help out my coach, Barry O'Connell at State of Mind Fitness in Hammersmith. Went back there, trying to help out, and I was like, I don't know why am I doing this. This is brutal. Like, it was heart rendering being there, watching these guys train, watching these guys not give it their all, because one of my, like me or don't like me, but doesn't matter. But I always gave it my all. Like, I always wanted to rinse out every bit of potential I had. I wanted to maximize. And watching guys in boxing gyms, like, not really training hard or showboating in the ring or whatever, that used to really pissed me off. So I'm thinking, how have I, when I've given it my all, didn't get hit that much, end up with this eye socket fracture, and you guys aren't as good as me, get hit way more than me, don't train hard as me, yet you're not going to have an eye fracture. You're not going to have your career ended by injury. It was just like, it was difficult. So I realised like soon enough that going to the boxing gym every day and being around the lads wasn't the best thing for me in my psyche. Tried to move on, tried to look at the next best thing. What's the next best thing? Or what is this? Have to stop boxing at 30 years old. Like, what's it giving me? It's like, well, thankfully I'm not going to get my head punched in now until say 36, 37.
Yeah.
I'm gonna save a lot of punches to the head, because I did a bit of research in the what they call it, CTE. So like the Americans, I do that. The brain, basically, like continuous hits to the brain. NFL. There's a film, the Will Smith film, Concussions, really good film. I went to go and watch that during this kind of process, like when I retired, or watch it on DVD. And then and it was like the athletes, like the impact it has on you, like continuing brain like bashes basically. And I was looking at that thing, and again, I'm trying to find small wins, small reasons why this was a good thing. And I'm thinking, I'd have taken a lot of punches. I used to spar about 120 rounds every time I fought. And I'd always spar in between as well. In between fights, kind of stay sharp. And then the punch you take in the ring on fight night, that's a lot of punches. I think I had 12 fights when I retired. I would have ended up having 30, 40 fights. That's a lot of 100 rounds of sparring, you know. It's a lot of sparring. Pinching to go hit to the head. So, you know, and people, what they find in CTE, like oftentimes people are fine up until they're 40, 50, 60. But when they get to 70, their brain degenerates real quick. And hopefully, you know, won't be the case anyway, but I've saved myself from a lot of brain bashes. I'm 30. Had I been 37 and retiring from boxing, I probably wouldn't have the desire to do something else now with the rest of my life. Whereas 31 years old, mate, you're still a young man. There's still loads you can do with your life. I'm still very fit. I'm still very healthy. Loads of things I still want to achieve. I still want to attain certain levels of success in different arenas. So yeah, I mean, the good thing, I was looking for the good things when you suffer setbacks. Now what can I do? Like what? Maybe this meant something. Maybe there's a reason why I wasn't meant to do this. Now let me go and find out what that reason is, and that's what I've done with the wrestling. I'm now trying to live. And I keep saying this in my interviews, and people might think, people get annoyed at me saying it, but it's the truth. Like not many people, because of a whole host of reasons, some their fault, some not their fault, but not many people get the chance to live out one dream in their life, one childhood dream, because life happens, and you've got to go and take that job as a whatever to pay the bills or whatever. I lived that my first dream, representing my country with the Great Britain at the Olympic Games, albeit it was under tough circumstances, but it was a dream come true for me to represent my country at the Olympics. And now, as a kid, I always loved wrestling. I still love wrestling now, even before this, and I love it. And like as a kid, I wanted to be The Rock because he's the coolest dude in the world, and I've now got the chance to do that, which is live out a second childhood dream. So many people don't get the chance to do one, and I've now got the chance to live out a second childhood dream, which I'm really, really, really proud of and really excited about. So
when I saw you turn over to wrestling, I was a massive wrestling fan when I was younger. I still am a wrestling fan now, but I'll always remember the younger days more than current times. It was a real nice surprise, and that's one of the main reasons I wanted to interview you. I've always found that you managed to be able to diversify your career. Is you were a boxer, but you always seemed like something else as well, and you managed, like you say, you didn't give up on boxing. Obviously, circumstances made it that you couldn't obviously compete anymore, but you found another passion to live out. And was it an opportunity just that kind of came on your doorstep, or did you hunt and seek for that?
Good question, mate. Good question. A bit of both. I think the opportunity was presented to me. I think I could have got it myself. It would have been a lot more hard work, and I had to kind of knock on a few more doors and maybe face some more rejection along the way. But I've got a few top friends in the world of wrestling, and they opened doors for me because they respected me, and they knew my story. They knew my boxing career. They respected me as a person, and they thought he'll be good at this. So they gave me like a little nudge in the right direction. So it was a bit of both, really. But that's the thing. I mean, had I not have had these people in my corner helping me out, I would have made this happen myself, because that's the kind of person I am. I think that's what it takes to be successful. It takes so many knockbacks to get, like, for that one. It takes one person to say yes, to say take a chance on you, and to get to that one person, you might have to go through 27, 50, 1,000 no's to get to that one yes. And most people give up on the 2nd, 5th, 12th, 18th no, but they never get to that point. There's a great. I can see it now in my head. I've got it on my phone. There's a great like a little meme, and it's a man basically digging like on the ground, digging for gold or for a diamond or whatever. And he's digging, and he's got really, really far, and he hasn't got there, and he goes to turn away, and then you can't see it. He can't see it. We can see it. That if he'd have thrown 1 or 2 more swings with his pickaxe, he'd have got the treasure. But he gave up. He gave up just before he got the treasure, and that's the thing. What a lot of people do, they give up before they get to that point. And had this opportunity not been presented to me in the way it came, I'd have got it, because I wouldn't have given up. I would have kept digging away with my pickaxe until I got what I wanted. I'm sure of that. So, yeah. But that's lucky. Like, going back to what I said a minute ago, like when I was a kid, I was fortunate enough to try stuff and to try sport, and never tried wrestling, but I was exposed to it at a young age, and I enjoyed it, and I've always enjoyed it. And that's why I've got the chance now to do it, because another thing, it doesn't sound like I'm preaching too much, but it's funny that, like, I'm 31. Like, most wrestlers start when they're in their teens, early 20s. I'm 31, and I've got loads of miles on the clock already from the boxing career and the injuries and the surgeries. I've been given this opportunity because of my efforts in my previous career, in my boxing career, in my amateur boxing career, the Olympic bronze medalist. Like, that's opened the door for me. So it's funny how when you work really, 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 really hard at something, you might not get the reward that you think you deserve at the time, like I didn't. But 8 years on, I'm now getting rewards from what I did 7 years ago, 8 years ago, which is amazing. So basically what I'm saying is, if you work really, really hard, like, you might not see it straight away, and those opportunities might not come until 5, 10 years later, but they'll always come, even when you don't expect it.
I think that's a massive, massive point to take from this interview. Same, I wanted to be a scientist, and now I have my own social enterprise working with young people. Them two don't really link, other than I both worked in a school with them. You both worked in a ring with wrestling and boxing, but you don't always link the two together. But the hard work and the ground that you lay, the foundations, when you're working hard, open doors in the future, which you didn't even know were going to be there. And I'm sure, like you say, if you wanted to be a wrestler, the kind of determined person that you are, you would have probably found a way to make it happen. But you'd been laying foundations of hard work in your life previously that accounted for you being able to get an opportunity a little bit, not easier because you'd done hard work before, but the door was open for you. People were willing to hear what you had to say. And I think for young people, if they can take that from your story, that would be massive. Don't look at the hard work and effort that you had and it didn't turn into the opportunity that you wanted. A door is going to open soon because you have that relentless hard work ethic. It's brilliant to see, like, you talking about wrestling like that, and your love for it, like you say, living out two dreams, two really hard things to get involved in to that kind of level. And that's why it's great to speak to somebody who's living and breathing it. I want to ask you the last 2 questions. I want to say thank you for opening up so much and sharing personal information, because it's not always easy. Sometimes you have to relive times which you don't want to relive, but I do think that really does help young people. They can see, I know I can see the honesty and the genuine side of you, which young people, they seem to read it. They can tell straight away if somebody's being honest and genuine, and that when you're sharing a story that's personal to you, it goes a long way. I knew you grew up without a dad. I know your mum is a massive role model to you, but becoming a man and finding a role model, how did you manage to do that? Who were the people that inspired you? And the other question I wanted to ask is, what would be the best piece of advice you could give a young person that you know now that you didn't know back then when you was younger?
Yeah, good questions, mate. I guess there's. I was always able to look for inspiration everywhere. Like everyone inspired me, whether it was a teacher, whether it was a single parent, whether it is somebody working in Tesco, working their arse off to provide for their children. Like there's inspiration everywhere. You just got to look for it. You just got to look for it. And I was lucky. I had a couple of blokes, like father figures along the way, helped me out and took a liking. Even still now, I've got a couple of guys now that take a liking to me because of my story and because of the things I've kind of done and overcome, and that's nice. And it's I've never been the one to look what I haven't got. Always think of what I have got, and I could easily go, oh, my dad didn't love me or wasn't there, whatever. I'm not going to get anywhere by doing that. Like I always used to focus on the positives, and I was very lucky. I had an amazing mum and wonderful sisters, which I wouldn't change that. I wouldn't change that for 20 dads, So I think it's important, and no matter how bleak your circumstances are, and I don't want to sit here from a privileged position of having a mum and an amazing family, and say the wrong thing. But no matter how bleak your circumstances are, there'll be something in your life that you can be happy about, or be proud of, or be thankful for. Is the best thing. So yeah, no matter how bleak things are, we could have really bad like family upbringing and stuff, which is horrendous, and I wouldn't wish it upon anybody. But there'll be something in your life to be grateful for. So be thankful for what you do have, rather than be God about what you haven't got. That's what I always did growing up, and maybe I was angry. Maybe as a kid I was angry, and maybe boxing was good for me because I had like a lot of emotions, and rather than taking that anger out in the bad way, as we mentioned earlier, like I've always kind of like channeled it in a good way in sport. And that's probably a very good reason why I did do boxing and I excelled at boxing, and I liked boxing because I probably was quite an angry kid and I wanted to kind of win so much and be so successful because I had all this anger trapped up. So again, if you do feel that way, you kind of like rage up sometimes, try to channel it somewhere, whether it's creatively or in music or in sport. And the second thing you asked me, Joe, was
best piece of advice you had for
best advice. Yeah, I mean,
now you know about them.
Yeah, so this piece of advice, I often give this piece of advice when asked about my career, and it's going to be hard because oftentimes, like when you're young, you don't know. Sometimes you got to learn. Like sometimes you got to fall over a few times to go, oh, I'm not going to walk there again. Because when I walk there, I'm going to fall over. If someone said to you, don't walk there, you'll fall over, you might go, yeah, whatever. Sometimes you got to make your own mistakes to realize. One thing if I could do my career again or my life again, this is what I always say, and it's quite important, although it might not be important yet to these people if they're youngsters. But I'm sure you'll get it. Is like, I wish I enjoyed the moments more along the way. Like I was always so driven to get to the top, and driven to become world champ, or driven to do. Case in point, quick story to back up what I'm saying. My first fight, I boxed in Sheffield. It was great, and all my friends and family came. 2 big busloads came up 4 hours up the road to Sheffield to watch me, and then my team had booked an area in my club afterwards for celebration drinks. And I didn't want to go because I just knocked this guy out, and I thought there was going to be loads of these knockout nights, and I thought, I can celebrate big in the future. And I was boxing 3 weeks later in New York, and I didn't want to drink. I didn't want to be around drink. I wanted to kind of go back to my hotel room, go to bed, wake up, and train again for my next fight. And then in the end, a bit of a thing with my wife. She said, "Come on, you got to go. All these people want to see you, want to celebrate with you, want to have a dance and just celebrate. You haven't got a drink, you just be there." And I begrudgingly went, and I had a face on. And it was like, I was like, yeah, it's brilliant. And I was there for half an hour, and I left. I showed my face, and I left. And I went home, back to the hotel, and I just whatever. I didn't even sleep because I was so pumped up. I may as well have been out because I was so wired from the fight. And then, and I ruined a good night because that could have been a really good night. All my friends came up. I didn't have to drink, as she said. I could just enjoy being with my friends and my family, and it was just a nice environment. I missed it, and we never had it again because, I always boxed abroad. I was always boxing in different places, never like at home, and never in front of all my fans, all my family before again. And then when I did, I hurt my eye and I didn't celebrate. I went back to the hotel, went to hospital. So I missed that. I didn't enjoy the moments along the way because I was so determined to get to the top, which is a great trait to have, being determined. But I wish I would have stopped along the way and just looked and just appreciated the moments along the way. And that's really important, I think, because sometimes, like my career, I never got to the top. And if you ignore all the moments along the way and never got there, like I didn't, you've wasted your whole entire career. You haven't got many things to look back on and be proud of. So it's important to kind of, like I said, you're walking to the top of the mountain analogy. Sometimes you just stop along the way, turn around, take in the view like halfway up. Sometimes that's an amazing view on its own. And then you haven't got to stop there. You can carry on walking again and carry on climbing. And then 3/4 way up, stop, have a look, take it in, enjoy it, enjoy the climb as well as just getting to the top. So that's the advice I'd give. And hopefully these guys will take it on board, because I wish I did during my career.
I don't know about these guys. I'm sure they will, but definitely me. I think that's definitely resonated with me, and I think the story that you gave with it backs it up massively. Enjoying moments. I think sometimes people can see it as a sign of weakness to enjoy a moment, or you're going off track. But actually, you know what? I think it's important to be able to let go, and not fully let go, but look at your accomplishments or have time with your family, or say I've done a good job here. And I think that's a mega piece of advice. I think for me, I'm going to definitely implement that into my life more, as it's something which I don't do. And listen to your story today, if that is one of the best pieces of advice that you've got after all you've been through, I'd be a fool not to take it on. I'd be a fool.
Cheers, mate. Thank you.
Honestly, thank you for giving up your time. You didn't need to do this. I asked you out of the blue, and I'd always wanted to interview, and I'm glad I did, because your story and the messages that you push are great. You seem very humbled by your experience, and you seem in a great place now, which is great. And I hope young people do take this on board from somebody who's lived it and breathed it, and been through some massive ups and downs, massive. But thank you today, Anthony. Thank you for giving up your time, and hopefully I'll hear from you at some point soon and see you on the big screen again, body slamming people all around.
Yeah, cheers, mate. And finally, before I go, buddy, I just want to say I've really enjoyed doing this. And you mentioned a minute ago, it is tough talking about setbacks from one's life, and it is tough. And I don't always do it. I get asked quite a lot to do things like this, and I sometimes say yes, sometimes say no. And I'm glad I said yes to this, because it's been a great interview. You've asked some really good questions, and I think you're doing a great job, mate, with what you're doing. So yeah, just keep it up, mate. Keep it up, and it's been a pleasure chatting to you. I look forward to watching this when it goes down.
Thank you very much for today, mate.
Thanks, buddy.
Yep, and I'll definitely speak to you soon.
Take care. Thank you.